you. For more, we do want to welcome in our panel now. We have Republican strategist John Thomas and Democratic strategist Kaivan Shroff. Welcome both. Appreciate you being here tonight. John, I want to start with you. Let's start with Iran. President Trump telling Politico, quote, "It is time to look for new leadership in Iran." In the wake of Venezuela, is the president preparing for another U.S. move that aims to change a foreign regime?
Well, the president's in a little bit of a bind because certainly his base and the American people don't have an appetite for a extended foreign conflict. But on the other side, President Trump has had pretty decisive regime change switches with limited U.S. involvement. And look, it's obvious there were thousands of Iranians that were being killed. President Trump doesn't want to see that go on. Iran has been hostile to the U.S., and it looks like he's gearing up to do something, but it probably won't be a prolonged conflict because that goes against what Trump is aiming to do.
Kaivan, let's go to you on this. On the one hand, President Trump says the killing has stopped, the executions have stopped in Iran. We are seeing a new interesting framing coming from the Iranian government now. They are trying to make a distinction between ordinary protesters and who they are calling terrorists, who they claim are backed by foreign powers. We see Iran's Chief Justice saying that those terrorists will still be prioritized for prosecution and for punishment. We see Iran's AG saying that rioters are enemies of God. We know that that charge can carry the death penalty. Do you think that the killings, the executions are over?
Absolutely not. And I think we just heard from your reporter that no matter what Trump says, they are still happening on the ground. Trump has boxed himself in here because he declared that the murder of these protesters would be a red line and that he would come in and support those protesters. Now he's backed away from it. I think it's consistent for what we've seen, right? This is why Democrats run around saying taco or Trump always chickens out. If the Roosevelt doctrine was speak softly and carry a big stick, Trump seemed to be bloviate loudly, ramble incoherently, and carry a tiny one. He never backs up his word. So the world is watching him yet again as he fails to deliver on a promise.
John, I heard your guffaw there, but I do want to turn to Greenland with the time we have. We heard NewsNation's Batia even saying last hour that a price tag of $700 billion. I mean, there are so many pressing issues here at home. Can you make the case for the president taking over Greenland in light of all the need that we have here in the U.S.?
You know, I can. And yeah, it's a huge price tag, but it's also a huge, significantly important thing for the struggle between the East and the West. If you look at what is a singular challenge for the United States, it really is a potential hot war or conflict with China. And that struggle would go right through Greenland. And he, or the country that controls the Arctic region, will have a significant advantage in a power struggle between China and the U.S. And so, yes, is it very expensive? Absolutely. But it'd be worth it because it might come at the ultimate cost if we lose access to protect that area.
Okay, so Kaivan, over to you. I mean, Trump is facing some Republican pushback already for his quest to gain Greenland. We see Senators Tillis, Murkowski saying that it would hurt the U.S. and NATO. We see Congressman Bacon saying that a U.S. invasion of Greenland would push him towards impeachment. I mean, what do you make of the pushback? Will Trump ultimately acquire Greenland no matter what?
I don't think he will, but I think you're right. It's stunning to see these Republicans rebuke him. Don Bacon even went so far as to compare him to Putin. And I mean, I think a stunning moment. He seems to have lost Piers Morgan, the #1 Trump bootlicker on Twitter right now, sort of coming out against that idea. I think I don't buy, and I don't know that anyone in the diplomatic community is buying the security argument, because Denmark and Greenland seem open to beefing up security, to conceding on some of these asks for, you know, making sure there's more surveillance, making sure there's more of a presence there. To me, there's an irony in that he's responding to not having Europe bow down on this by once again increasing tariffs as Americans are struggling to put food on the table. I know your colleague Connell McShane had an interview with the Ag Secretary who was saying, oh, it's all fine. For $3, you can get a piece of chicken and a piece of broccoli. That didn't go over well. So now more tariffs. He's going to make our economy worse. And all of this is a result of him losing the trade war with China, right? Because Greenland has those rare earth minerals that Americans need. And that was a major point of leverage in Trump losing those trade wars.
Yeah,
so
we'll have to pick up the economy topic another time. But to your point, a new poll finding almost 60% of Americans describing the strength of the U.S. economy negatively right now. Of course, we'll be watching this heading into the midterms. But Kaivan Shroff, John Thomas, appreciate you both. Thank you for coming on tonight.
Thanks, Natasha.
Alzheimer's disease.